Okay, so hello everybody. My name's Sarah. I'm from St Michael's Fellowship, and I'm here today to interview Elaine, who works for us, who's going to tell us a little bit more, tell you, lovely people, a little bit more about our organisation and how Caring Dads fits into it. So, hello Elaine. Could you tell everybody a little
Good
bit
morning,
about St
Sarah,
Michael's?
and everyone. Yes, so I manage the outreach team at St Michael's Fellowship, a team of practitioners who work with young parents in the community in Lambeth up to age 24, starting at any age. But St Michael's didn't begin with an outreach team. It began its history as a charity working with young women. I think they were probably called fallen women in those days, women who found themselves pregnant with no partner and no family support, or even with a family, but the family would have ideally wished them to disappear for a while and return without their baby. And St Michael's was established to keep those mums and babies together in 1903. It evolved, it developed, and found, like new forms of getting an income, I suppose, but also holding to its core value of keeping families together. So St Michael's has 3 residential family assessment centres where parents come and are assessed as to their parenting capacity, but also encouraged and taught, because a lot of parents didn't have the kind of background themselves that taught them how to be parents. So that's what St Michael's does. It teaches, supports, and assists parents to be the best parent they can be. And in keeping with its history, it kind of began working with mums and children and their babies, but then over time developed an understanding that actually fathers could be sometimes the problem, a massive problem where there was domestic abuse in families' lives, preventing adequate parenting for children. And also there could be a resource. Sometimes the father could actually be the most protective factor for the children that were being assessed. So it was around 2000 that the outreach team was developed, and then I came on board as manager of the outreach team, which, as I said earlier, works with young parents in the community, in 2018. But in 2016, when I was working with Dermot and working with Caring Dads, and as a trainer for Caring Dads, I trained the team in the Caring Dads programme. So I trained them, and then a couple of years later, I became their manager when I changed jobs. A bit complicated. And what we found was, running Caring Dads with young men, it's quite hard to get a lot of young men into a room to form a significant sort of group. And so what we did, starting in 2018, we started running groups for dads of all ages, taking referrals from whoever, and there are so many people who want to refer to Caring Dads, dads of all ages. And we melded the young men in with the older dads, which gave the group more momentum and size, and we could actually get running. And also these young dads were in with the older dads, and it worked really well. The different age groups worked really well together. So we were doing face-to-face delivery. I have a wonderful colleague. I delivered the programme with my colleague, the programme that was for the older dads. The programme that was for younger dads previously was run by the young parents practitioners. Yeah, that's kind of what we've done.
And so why is Caring Dads, where does it fit in with other parts of the organisation? Do you do sessions with people from the residential houses as well, or?
We have had dads from the residential houses, yes. So we've had a couple of dads who have come from the residential houses. They may not have been living in the houses. One of them was living in the community, but his partner was in the house. And we also do a parallel group for the mums, so that, because part of Caring Dads is that the mums need support as well. So we run, young parents practitioners also run groups for mums who've experienced domestic abuse. And so the mums of dads coming to the programme, if it was a case of domestic abuse, could be supported by our female practitioners in the young parents practitioner group. And then we've also had, so we've had dads coming from the houses, and we've also had, we have a young fathers practitioner who works specifically with young dads in the outreach team, and he works one-to-one, and he does some group work, and he previously ran Caring Dads for Young Dads, so he referred those young dads into us. So it can kind of, you know, it can fit across the whole organisation and take referrals from the local authority. Because the local authority refer young parents to us, but now they can refer older dads to us as well. So quite a mixed, you know, to get the momentum of the group going, you need quite a mixed referral base to, you know, to get enough men.
And what's the impact been so far?
Well, you interviewed some of the dads, didn't you, Sarah?
Yeah, I did.
How did you feel when you interviewed them at the end of I think the first and the second groups you interviewed men?
Get you switching this around.
Well, I was conscious I was just going on and on.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I mean, I was amazed at how much, how many of them said the same thing, that they didn't think that they wanted to come and that they didn't want to talk about anything. And yet it had been one of the best things that they'd ever done. Like once it got going, and that kind of catharsism, and yeah, I just got a real sense. And the other sense that I got is that a lot of them wanted it to carry on. They didn't want it to end. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I remember getting really good feelings from the group, and they're all quite open as well. As you know, I was expecting to go in and no one wanted to talk to me, almost, you know, like who's this outsider, but they were all really willing to talk about like where they'd started from and where they were now. So yeah,
thank you, that's great. And I couldn't have said that in that way, because yeah, it's that's and you were talking to the graduates, weren't you? So you were talking to, and both of those groups that you spoke to were very well attended, and the dads they'd had 17 weeks of really enjoying talking. So when you came along, they were definitely ready to talk to you, weren't they? And we had a big meal at the end. I think you came to when we had a big meal to celebrate. And
yeah, it's lovely.
We've seen some of those dads since. They've stayed around us for months. They're waiting in the wings to do whatever they can to support, you know, the development of the programme further. Of course, at the moment we're kind of struggling with COVID like everybody else. And Dermot and I do a lot of training. We train facilitators in other boroughs. We are supporting the delivery online of Caring Dads in other boroughs. But yeah, that's what we do. I think Dermot said he just wanted 5 minutes or so. How long? I think we've done
5 minutes.
Okay,
I think that's great. The other thing I would say, sorry, just before I forgot, the thing I would say is what I thought was really nice, it just occurred to me, is even when I was in the room and I wasn't asking them questions, just watching the dads asking each other for advice and sharing their ideas and opinions was just happening really naturally, like not even being guided by you or the other guy that was facilitating. It just seemed really natural, actually. That's my other observation. I think
there is so much scope for peer involvement. And in one of the groups, the facilitator, we'd asked a couple of the dads to come along to explain to the new group how the group worked and what it was like. And my co-facilitator was off sick, so I was on my own, but I actually felt very safe and supported by my two graduates from the previous group, and they ended up running a couple of the exercises, and as they were leaving, I could hear them saying about one of the newbies. They were talking to each other and they were saying, he just needs to vent, he just needs to really be able to get his feelings out there before he can take on the material. Talking like a pair of facilitators. It was wonderful. It's very uplifting work, this. It doesn't work for everybody. People have to have a fundamental love in order for Caring Dads to work for their children, a desire to overcome whatever the obstacles are, whether it's their need to be in control of their partner, of situations, not distorting their thinking, or whether it's that they didn't have a role model and they need to just learn how to do it, but they kind of have to want to, maybe not on day one, but certainly they have to fundamentally want to have a closer relationship to their children, and that's what makes it work. Yeah.
On that note, I think we'll end it there. Thank you very much, Elaine.
Bye, Sarah. Thank
Okay,
you so
bye.
much. Bye, everybody, whoever's listening.
Bye.
Bye.